Well, a new Quinnipiac poll just out today shows a majority of New Yorkers supports Governor Cuomo's no-tax pre-K plan over New York Mayor Bill de Blasio's plan that would fund it with a city income tax on the wealthy. In fact, those polled across the state support Cuomo by a 47 to 37% margin. Joining us now, our political analyst, New York Post state editor, Fred Dicker. Fred, I personally felt a little surprised by this. Were you?
No, because actually what the kind of subtext of the question that Quinnipiac University asked was, would you rather see pre-K funded with a tax or without a tax? And most people don't want taxes, even if it's just on the millionaires, as Mayor de Blasio is proposing. So I think in some ways it was a misleading question. But that said, this is good news for the governor in a sense of strengthening his hand somewhat in dealing with Bill de Blasio. It certainly looks like he has public support on his side. However, the various groups in New York City, led by Mayor de Blasio, I don't think are going to be influenced by this at all. They're pushing ahead with their demand for higher taxes, partly because there's a second agenda here, which is that the mayor, it appears, wants this extra money, not so much for pre-K, because the governor is going to provide a lot of that, but he wants to use it for settlements with the public employee unions in New York City that got him elected as mayor to begin with.
Well, and he certainly has momentum on his side, doesn't he?
Well, he has some momentum. There's no question about it. We talked about this, I think, yesterday or earlier in the week. It really looks from an Albany perspective is about the only ally Governor Cuomo has is Dean Skelos, the Republican leader of the Senate. Senate Democratic leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins is supporting the mayor. Jeff Kline, the leader of the Independent Democratic group, is supporting the mayor. And Speaker Sheldon Silver has been conspicuously silent in not supporting the governor. So the governor's isolated from a Democratic Party that has swung way to the left now. It's a difficult position for him, but at least based on this poll, he seems to have the public on this issue with him.
Yeah, actually, I should have clarified my pronoun. I actually did mean de Blasio seems to have momentum on his side. What happens now if the two are just continue to be at loggerheads over this?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, in some ways, Liz, the future of the New York Democratic Party over the next few years is at stake here. It's not clear who's going to win. Governor's very powerful. He should win. But yesterday or a couple of days ago, Jeff Kline, a Democratic leader, was suggesting holding up the budget to help de Blasio. He backed off on that one. But there's a real serious undercurrent of unhappiness from Democrats with Governor Cuomo. And it still remains to be seen, I think, who's going to be the winner in this face-off.
And I'm assuming, we'll talk about this another time, but this could change the whole face of New York State, too.
It could. I think it already is on the way to doing that. Bill de Blasio is the most radical left-of-center mayor in New York history, and he's got a very aggressive agenda. In some ways, it's like President Obama's agenda, and he has a lot of groups, especially in the city, with him. The governor finds himself on the kind of wrong side of the Democratic circuit, but he's fighting back, and we'll see who can be successful.
All right, interesting stuff. Thanks, Fred.
Sure.
Fred's on the radio, too, with interesting stuff. He's live from the state capitol every weekday morning, 10 to 11 on Talk 1300 AM.